Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Salutes to everybody. Much love and respect. We are back for our Soulful Saturdays with my brothers T Riggles and my brother Keith Pugh. Salute. Hey man, make sure y'all hit that like button for us, family. Please like, share, and subscribe. Supports the channel. Tonight we're going to be covering Doomsday prophecies. We're going to be covering the three-eye atlas situation that we got up in space. We're going to be even looking into some of the updates. We're also going to discuss things like Planet Nubiru, and these ancient Hopi prophecies. And shout out to my brothers, man. Salutes to y'all, man. Mic check. Give us a mic check.
Mic check, mic check.
Oh yeah, loud and clear. So I want to start off by saying I appreciate y'all for joining, man, on this conversation. It's gonna be a great build. And shout out to everybody once again, like I said before, please share the video for us. We're having a hard time getting the notifications out. So if you guys could share the video for us, it would be a great help and we appreciate it. I want to start off by asking you guys, now this was some very interesting research, especially tying and making the connection from this doomsday prophecy to the three-eye atlas, to the Hopi prophecy, and Planet Nubiru. I want to know, what's some of the things that um, and we may have to um, mute the video in the background.
Mic check,
But
mic check, Keith. Mic check, Keith. Can you hear us?
yeah, you loud and clear.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So what's some of the things that come to mind when um you guys think about um how the connections are made between the Doomsday prophecy, Three-Eye Atlas, Planet Nibiru, the Hopi prophecies? What comes to mind when you guys think about the connection with that?
I think like for me, there's a connection in the sense like if you think of like the Sumerian tablets and whatnot, when the connections to like Nibiru and Anunnaki and Three Eye Atlas, it kind of links to the fact that they're supposed to make a return at some point, and I think we can consider that a doomsday, depending on if they're coming, with negative intent or, a positive intent. But doomsday in the sense where it's the end of life as we know it might hold true. I think.
Facts. Tying all these things in. So my next question is, do you now? I've had a couple of different concepts. And shout out to the big dog Philly OG. Salutes to everybody in the chat. Much love and respect. I will be dropping a link at some point, and I will also be sharing a video out once the conversation get going. But I want to know, man, because they're even tying this into some type of alien invasion. They're throwing out so many different scenarios that it's kind of distracting everyone as a whole from actually having a understanding of what's actually taking place. So what's your thoughts on that? And then T Riggles, you can feel free to interject after Keith if you want.
Like I've researched a couple of different sources, and the interesting thing is like we have a date as far as like when things are supposed to really occur. There's a channeler. I think his name is Daryl Ankler, and he channels supposedly this interdimensional being called Bashar. He's actually pretty well known, I suppose, on YouTube or other platforms. And he says that by the year 2027, we're supposed to have like actual contact. And in correlation to that, there are a couple of government whistleblowers that also proposes the year 2027. However, they did say that the government is planning to like produce this mass lie about, an alien invasion that's supposed to occur. And I think they're trying to associate that with the Three Eye Atlas at this time.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's my thoughts. Did you want to interject, brother T. Riggles?
Yeah, I know you're talking about that Bashar guy,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
I listened to him. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, dude, you're kind of way out there. You know what I mean? Sometimes when I hear people, and especially when we speak about this three eye atlas, right? Right, this three eye atlas. All I got to say for everyone that thinks this three eye atlas something's going on, this is all I got to say.
Bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Oh,
Right, right. Y'all not understanding the game we in. You know what I mean?
mm,
But I think bro did a good job of breaking that down, and that the NASA, whoever provides the pictures of
yeah,
Three Eye Atlas, and it didn't look blurry. So
yeah.
that's letting us, what I mean? That's letting us know, like, oh, okay, this is all jargon right here. This is all fake because they're really good at this.
Mm,
Like, and then this is one thing that I'm gonna say. Anyone, okay, Keith and Keith, anyone that's pumping, trying to break down, describe what Three Eye Atlas is, right? Not only
mm,
are they regurgitators, okay, they have been Agent Smith, okay? You
mm,
understand what I'm saying? They've been Agent Smith all the way. They're pushing the agenda of the elites and whatever the people, you know what I mean, what they want us to think, feel, woo, 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 woo. Do you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So for the Three Eye Atlas, I mean, and I'll land it right here. The Three Eye Atlas, I think you said it really well before prior, Key, is
Mm,
that it's got something to do with the third eye for sure.
Yeah,
mm,
yeah, and so when it comes to psyops and things of that nature, what I want people to not do is don't just say and not and I'm just speaking just for general purpose. I don't want people to say, "Oh, it's fake," and just don't think about nothing because that's part of the distraction process too. So if they tell you that something's happening, like what I try to tell people is, I don't believe nothing they say. If they tell me something, I say, I think when I think about the Da Vinci Code, I think about, okay, now I gotta decode this. I gotta turn this around and then switch the ends around to kind
mm,
of figure out what's really happening. So I don't want people to think that nothing's going on. It's something happening. It's not what they saying was happening, but something's happening. Because
mm,
when people say nothing's happening, it's all bull crap, then people just go back to living regular life. And I think they're smart enough to know that they get some people like that too. You
mm,
understand what I'm saying? So that's why I really want to build and have a discussion and see what we can push together and put our minds together. And I also allow some other people to come up so they can give their thoughts as well in a few. I'll do that in a minute. But when it comes to these people who are pushing the agenda and stuff, of course, you
right.
know, I always say the revolution not going to be televised. So if it's not like it'll resonate. Most of the people who are out on these platforms, and I'm talking about most of them, when they're coming with the same thing that the agenda is pushing, because I was going to wait to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and go in with this. See, my whole thing is I think that they're dealing with some type of interdimensional beings, not as far as a physical alien, but as far as interdimensional beings. I want to connect this all the way with the CERN machine because CERN's doing something for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Once our body passes, then our body sheds this, our body sheds off, and our energy continues to to exist. So that'll be another dimension, should I
Mm,
say?
mm,
You know, that's another dimension of physicality.
right.
So these beings that they're dealing with, we can't have a low vibrational mind and think about it being physical. We got to be able to connect these people playing God or so-called what they would call God or the creator.
Mm,
They're jumping dimensions. They're saying, okay, I can be, I can deal with what's in my body. I can deal with after I die. They're unlocking the door, opening portals. If we understand that energy can't die, energy is only transformed into the next what dimension. So they're unlocking the doors that are holding things in place so it go in the order in the process. They're knocking those doors down so they can just cause a whole disruption in this whole system of life that we're living.
mm. No, I did some digging on it. I kind of tried to ask Chat GPT what it thought about, the three-eye atlas and whatnot. And of course, it'll say like, oh, whatever public knowledge we have or public information we have, it being like maybe comet or, it doesn't know what it is, but it still revolves around a comet. And so what I went and did was I asked in like a unrestricted Chat GPT program, and it had a completely different answer as opposed to what we see on a regular Chat GPT. And it went on to say that it's some type of government program that's trying to like incorporate some AI overlord, and it's trying to build this system whereas like it ties back to like this one world government thing where like it's gonna use Project Bluebeam and and put like all of these supposed alien ships in the sky in which like right now like they can put 3D objects or images in the sky and it'll supposedly look absolutely real, and by doing that they'll get everybody to like come together to face this outward threat. And basically that's how they start their their long the plan that they've set like in motion like a couple centuries ago.
Mm, mm. I totally see that. I
Mm,
totally see that for sure. Sure, Keith. You know, and I did some just light digging
mhm,
with some of that, with the three eye atlas thing, and came up with I saw the Hopi prophecy,
mm,
right? And there was a guy, there was an elder. Let me see his name. The elder's name was Thomas Bayayo or Bayaye Senior, right? He's one of the Hopi wise men that passed away in 1999, and he was trying to deliver the message saying how this was already foretold, that what's happening, there's going to be, what do they call it, a blue star kachina in
mm,
the sky, right?
yeah.
And I guess the Sirius star is supposed to pulsate very higher than normal.
Mm,
And all this means is that, let me see what it means, right? What it says. It's basically, it's a time of great change, purification, right? And it says that the fifth world will begin. And all this fifth world means is that people are going to go back to the old way of doing things.
mm,
And I found that very, very interesting, that people now, it even says that the prophecy even says that they'll even have more of the youth joining these tribal nations and tribes, basically, just to go back to the old way of living. I thought that was fascinating. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're seeing the bull crap that's going on, especially the youth. The youth are very,
It-
very kind of aware of kind of what's taking place. Do you know what I mean? And what's happening, and seeing how, the direction we're moving is not the direction we should be going. So
Right.
that was an eye opener, for the Hopi prophecy to say that. And I meant,
Right. So, mm, oh, you want to interject, Keith? Go ahead. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
because
I'm not.
when you,
Yeah,
oh
go ahead.
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead. You good.
No, I was just gonna say, right. I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but I want to say this, right. Um, this thing has been foretold for so long, right? There is a for centuries, right? And they're talking about the fifth dimension. So when we talk about the base reality, what we talking about is a flipping of the coin. We're talking about one dimensional to two dimensional, and what would be the two dimensional? The demiurge, the 3D state of mind, and we're in the fourth dimensional state. We're skipping basically from the the third dimension to the fifth dimension consciously. But we got to think when we talking about those type of things, there's a micro macro happening. There's a as above so below type of thing happening. So even though we're talking physical, we're also talking spiritual as well. So now they're talking about going to the fifth dimension. If the base reality is the first dimension, and that was like our utopia or our Eden type stage, then we're flipping back to that odd number again, so forth. Like, you understand what I'm saying? We going to the fifth dimension. There's a yin and a yang happening. So they know that on this cosmic clock, that's why there's always been a doomsday clock, but it's not a doomsday for us. It's a doomsday for them because their world will end. You notice they say when the world will end, they never say when the earth end. They say when the world end. The world is a spiral, is a tornado, a whirlwind. See, we supposed to be living, going with the spiral of life. We're supposed to be being compatible with the earth and nature. We're supposed to be in compatible with the seasons changing and stuff like that. Then we will be connected to our source because we going with the flow of nature. We'll be praying because we'll be saying thank you for the crops that grew. But when there's a system built, when there's a whirlwind, a tornado, or a Tasmanian devil in the mix, see, now that makes us on a backwards spiral. So we're not going with the spiral of life now. Now everything is backwards. So their world will end. This is what these people are afraid of. So when they're saying the alien invasion or the 3-eye atlas is coming, the 3-eye, the third eyes, the 3-eye atlas can mean man or landmass. The 3-eyed man or the third-eye landmass. So they will say that the third eye man will be in the process of waking people up to make the Atlas 3-eye. Now the whole Atlas gonna be 3-eye. Everybody changed their mind frame on the earth to open their third eye. The veil is thinning. The veil is lifted. So that's what they're in fear of. This is why they don't have actual images and things of that nature. And that just popped in. I don't want to be too long winded. I know you wanted to come in. You got it, bro. Go ahead.
Like there was some type of technology that the supposed elites have. I'm not too sure if it's concerning with CERN, or it was, I forget the name off top of my head, but they're able to look into this technology and kind of get like information as far as what's gonna happen in the near future. Like it sounds like, science fiction, but with these people, like, the type of technology that they have would make Star Wars look like, child's play, according to what some of these guys are saying. And the information that they've gotten or received from that was like their plan won't succeed and they don't know how to handle it. So it's kind of like a countdown now, whereas, like, we say they try to pump out, oh, it's going to be the end of the world, the world is going to end. And it's just the world, I think, that they've created is going to end. Not the world, because the world is going to be like, as many times as, we've had, like, extensions events on this planet, the world is still here. The planet is still here. It's just the world that we know it as of today will end, and it's going to be a complete shift change in, like, maybe consciousness, where we're actually, more elevated, and now we get to see what's hidden behind the veil and stuff like that. They can't lie to us anymore or something like that. But as far as they're concerned, like, they're just afraid, as you said, like, like their world is ending and they don't know how to deal with it.
I
That's a fact.
totally, I totally agree. I totally agree with you, Keith. And I'm going to be kind of like long-winded here, right, with this because you mentioned CERN,
Take your
right?
time,
And
man.
I went into a little bit with CERN today.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they do have tech that can pierce through and see futuristic or different versions or timelines. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and best believe that they are some are psychic that they're
Right.
using them too. It's what would be good to use something very natural to
Right.
see ahead of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked into this CERN thing, because Key mentioned the portals,
Right.
okay? There are portals that are already here,
Mm-hmm.
open for things to come in. And I think CERN is trying to open up a very big one that that opens up to one of the lower realms
Mm-hmm.
of things to bring whatever is down in a different lower dimension. Do you know what I mean? That's very, very, very highly sinister.
Mm.
But when I looked into this, man, I was looked into the CERN machine. And as I was looking through the CERN machine, there was, as they so-called
Yeah.
smashing particles, right? So they're so-called smashing particles. But guess what the name of the equipment that is watching these particles slam into each other?
Or what's the name of it?
The name of the experiment or the camera that's viewing it, it's called Atlas.
I I got a caveat for you when you're finished.
Right? And
Yeah.
so when I was reading that, I said, "What? Atlas? That's the thing that's viewing the so-called particle smashing?" And then I said, "Wow." And then I took a look at that Atlas thing. That Atlas thing has it's the eye with like it's the eye circular and it has these tentacles,
Mm-hmm.
right? It looks like a tube. You know how like it's that tunnel view whenever they show CERN and that machine. It's
Yeah.
that tunnel view, and they've got the eye in the middle, and then you have the 8 tubes that look like tentacles, almost
Mm-hmm.
like spiderish. And
Right.
then so when I was looking at it, I said, "Yo, is this what Atlas they're talking about? Capturing, being able to capture, view whose third eye is activating.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they can view that and see that, now they can put a stop to you, depending on how spiritually aware you are, right? Because
Right.
on the spiritual path, and I like to tell all truth tellers this, make sure that you have spiritual backing and protection make sure that the ancestors gave you the green light, because the establishment could really turn the heat up, and
Right.
if you not spiritually protected out here, okay, you can so-called pass away in your sleep because someone went into your lucid dream, or someone went into your astral projection, into your light body state, and took you out that way. And so when they take you out that way, that cuts the cord that you're tethered to your body, and you won't be able to return back there. And so it
Yeah.
looks easy peasy, like, oh yeah, you died in he passed away in his sleep. Oh yeah, because he smoked too much, maybe.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, that could be the narrative, right? And I
yeah.
land right there. I land right there.
Like to jump on to the Atlas thing, like Elon Musk just made a new web browser program, and it's called ChatGPT Atlas. He's named it Atlas.
Wow. Wow.
Now that you throw that into the mix, it makes sense. It's all like puzzle pieces coming together where the name Atlas just keeps coming up. I may have mentioned this before, but like which is kind of a little off to the side, but like I play this video game called No Man's Sky. And in this video game, it's supposed to be endless, where it has like, quintillion planets and like, many different galaxies in it. And the important thing about it is like the name of the creator of those universes is called Atlas inside of the video game. And that
Fact.
was another thing that just popped up like,
I
wait a
mean,
minute,
everybody gonna see your titty.
Yeah. Because
like this
Atlas,
this name
we
is
thinking about
popping up
mind,
a lot.
body, and soul. So Atlas would be the God, the person, but then the earth too. That's why I was talking about the micro macro when it comes to, so that Atlas is their name, that God, the Atlas, but Atlas also means man, and also Atlas also means landmass too. So yeah, y'all cooking.
Yeah, and sorry about that. I kind of interrupted you at the end, Keith. Sorry about that. I thought my mic was
No, no,
muted.
no, no. Yeah. That was about it. Like I had, it was just like I said, it was just interesting how like the name Atlas keeps popping up, and then once I saw like they have a new browser with Atlas at the end of it, and the name of the eye that's actually looking at the atoms, smashed together is called Atlas. It might be tied into the same thing. This thing might be some type of technology that's able to use the fifth dimension as like because like to look into time you're basically just curving the space time so you can
Mm,
just back in on itself
right.
and if they're able to manipulate matter at CERN with enough energy then it can warp space time for them to actually view into the future and stuff like that. So I think like it's interesting how it correlates.
No, it's
That's
it's
what's up.
highly interesting, and this is where to me that the uh see for me where my stance is, like you said earlier, Keith, right, that they're way ahead, right? They're way ahead, and that's absolutely right. They're way ahead. So time travel is not a thing. It's kind of normal, for them. This is where to me the Mandela effect kicks in. Like, this is the only plausible thing I could look at that makes sense. Oh yeah, you can go back in time and change timelines. You can change Bernstein to Bernstein. You can change three wise men into just wise men. Like, you can do all of these things, and they have to be very cautious on when they do things like that. Now,
Mhm.
let me give y'all a little bit more. Okay, look, check
Yeah.
this out. Right.
Let
So,
me say this before you go in.
yeah,
See, when you was talking about though the when you was talking about the CERN machine, right, and how they're
yeah,
able to do the time traveling. Remember that the D stream theory. So
Mhm.
they're able to use the D stream. See, that's what the CERN machine do. It kind of twist up the D stream so they can be able to jump in and manipulate, because what they're fearing is they're trying to offset, they're trying to offset the ending of their time. the ending of their whirlwind.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why this is so significant, how it all ties in. And that's why that atlas keep popping up, because it's also mind, body, and soul. So remember that their God is this AI type of God. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? We dealing
Mhm.
with people who have an external hard drive. So that's why they made the CERN machine, because the natural CERN machine would be the ether itself. So they've created an artificial ether to be able to offset the D stream of the time shifting for a balance to be restored on the earth. You remember I was talking about the return of the light body,
Mm-hmm.
right? So with the return of the light body will be the lifting of the veil. We will be able to see beyond the veil of this matrix system that they've put upon us, this invisible gate that they've put on us. And when a lot of people think about life, natural life is not within their thoughts. It's this world that we created. So it wouldn't be the end of the world, per se. It wouldn't be the end of the earth. It would be the end of the world as we know it. And,
Right.
and balance will be restored. My bad. You got it, T.
Yeah, look, you're absolutely right. Uh, uh, with that atlas being kind of that mind, body, soul, and how to capture that, you know, because the atlas at CERN, that's the super powered camera. So that means that they can see, and the atlas from Elon might be the other one, maybe something that they can capture
Mm-hmm.
something. This is how I'm taking it. And I tell you like this, guys, right? And if it is something here, I would say this. I would say this because I like to call this period Operation Cleanup, where some people who have their third eye open have now invoked some of their ancestors to return. As you mentioned that, Key, that the CERN is the time machine that they can go back, right, or forward. And I also think that we are the ultimate time machines because you
Yeah.
have deja vus.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you can go forward, best believe you can go backwards.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm saying? I think we are like the ultimate AI machine that's organically created ever. We're the best design known to anything,
Mm.
and I think the journey, as we continue on, right, is to activate that divinity within. Because
Yeah.
once you activate that divine flame, as Thoth would say, or the Knights Templars, the Knights of old, would tell you, awaken that divine feminine within. Now, this changes things, you know what I mean, of what you are and who you are. And I land.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, uh, when I think of, like, time traveling and how we may be possible, like it might be possible for us to do that, using our consciousness. We explore, like, through the fifth dimension, and, like, as we keep elevating our consciousness, we can go from the fifth to the sixth to the seventh to the eighth. And as I remember looking into it, if you were able to, get to the fifth dimension, then you would be able to get an idea of different possibilities of, like the D string of different timelines, or whatnot. And you can get information and you could bring it back. And then when you get to the sixth dimension, then you'd be able to go to a different timeline and then and get information, and you can make slightly different changes. So for example, if I married a specific person, um all right, let's say for example, if I give you an example for the fifth dimension, and if I can look over and see if I married this person, what will my life be like? And all right, if I look over here, if I married this person, then I can see what my life looks like. And then when you move on to the sixth, you can actually go over to the one line and just say, all right, I'm going to live out this lifetime, and and enjoy this one. And then if you get tired of that one, you say, all right, you know what, I feel like jumping over to that one. And you'll cancel out, or not cancel out, but I guess you just kind of transfer over to your next time. You'll be able to jump at will. And like as you keep going higher and higher, like the abilities that you would have will just be completely different, or more, I would say more extravagant. Like for example, if you're in the seventh dimension, then you could actually bring a consciousness over and have it live in the same timeline as you. Like it gets so crazy as you keep going
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing with this whole metaverse thing, because what they're doing is soul harvesting, but you harvest something to take it home with you. So
Mhm.
while they're doing their soul harvesting, they're trying to actually hijack life. They're
Mhm.
hijacking life. They're hijacking the earth. We got to think about these type of people that we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who are terraforming the earth. We're dealing with people who are terraforming us, even. You
Mhm.
know, these are people who are dealing with this backward spiral of life. This is what we would call the synagogue of Satan. So these people are trying to take everyone along with them because they can't operate without us. And their biggest fear is us awakening and, really waking up from this spell that they put on us. So they're using the CERN machine, manipulating this D stream theory to be able to put our consciousness in whatever dimension that they want so that they can carry out. So now that they have their own, their God will be over us, or they're harvesting us for their God. This is why all of these depictions of these gods, they show these gods eating the souls or eating the people. The ether, they're trying to replicate the ether. This
Mhm.
is what the ether already does naturally. So
Mhm.
yeah, we on point with tying this in with the CERN machine, uh, you know, and also what their agenda is, because they're going to use this fake alien invasion to scare the people, but the people shouldn't be scared. There's only a balance happening on Earth. It's just a return of really the great mother. This is why they always say the mothership, the return of the mothership. We see
Right.
we in a patriarchal system right now, but that patriarchal system will cause us to be trapped. It will cause us to be stuck. Because if
Mhm.
you look at it and you connect the metaphysical aspect to the physical aspect, there is no recreation through man.
Mhm.
A man and a man can't reproduce.
Right.
So if you look at this on a metaphysical level, the ether washes everything out in a cycle like a washing machine, and it comes in dirty, it goes out clean, comes in dirty, goes out clean. And this is why they're so in an uproar about what they're calling 3-eye atlas. But the thing about it is they're giving it to the people as a literal aspect, like they've done with the stories of the Bible that they use. And I'll fall back.
Mhm. Like I've also I've heard another depiction of the history, whereas during the time of when the lost city of Atlantis was still present here. And I want to say like it might have been on a different dimension, but it was during that time where the civilizations were living in Atlantis, and they have like these rings, like as they explain it, the island has this like multiple rings, and in the very center of the ring is where the ascended masters were residing. And the civilization during that time were, I believe it was right brained, so it was more spiritual, more love, and all nature and whatnot. And as it was explained, there was another civilization supposedly living on Mars, I want to say, because the asteroid belt that we have in our solar system was supposedly have been like another planet that was called Maldek or something like that. And there was some type of war that went on that caused them to like destroy the planet, and they transmigrated over to Mars. And then the reason why Mars is the way it looks now is because they were just messing with so much technology that it basically just destroyed that whole planet in itself. And then from that point forward, they opted to come here to planet Earth. And when they got here, they weren't able to get back. So they started, developing technology here, and that kind of shifted us over to like this left brain logical sense, whereas like, if we were more right brain, we would still be connected consciously to, the universe and the ether and whatnot. And we just started developing like, technology. It's more beneficial. Like, it's easier to do stuff with technology or something like that. And we just kind of shifted over to left brain logic, and we just lost the whole ability to actually connect just because of that, is what I heard.
I tell you like this, Keith. Right? I tell you like this. I even told Key
My
this.
bad. My bad, bro. I'm gonna be real quick.
No, no, go ahead.
I,
Go ahead.
I just want to say something. I'm sorry to cut you. When we talk about the different planets and stuff, and see where the confusion lies with that is when they're talking about Mars and things like that. They talking about different states of different dimensions or states of consciousness. So because if we all come from thought, right? We're all consciousness. So this is a different states of consciousness. Now we're talking about before we get really trapped in this physical realm of things. So that would probably throw a lot of people off too, but because that also helps the idea of an alien invasion. Because if we think about Mars and you know, different life forms and stuff like that, and different planets in the physical realm, and we think about Mars and things being physical aspects, then that will give us the possibility still that there can be an alien invasion. But when we think about states of consciousness and dimensions, then we can see, okay, now we're dealing with interdimensional beings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I wanted to just come in with that. But y'all cooking, man. My bad, brother T Riggles, because I know a lot of people in the chat. I seen like a few people leave. They was like, ah man, Mars. But nah, that's true, but it's not, it is that. It's just not what we think it is. See what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? That's true.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about states of consciousness. We're talking about like okay, like we talking about when you said that like we were when you were talking about Atlantis and stuff like that. See,
Right.
it took us to merge our consciousness with what they brought from their dimension. When
Mm-hmm.
we merge our consciousness with what they brought from their dimension, then it put us on their dimensional vibration. That is
Mm-hmm.
how we're trapped in this whirlwind that we in right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, I hear you.
Now,
That's
now
what
what I would
we're talking
say,
about. Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
what I would say, with the, this goes back to now. This is, as I spoke to you earlier about Key, right?
Yeah.
This is where humanity had got tampered with. Even now we know Zachariah Sitchin and the whole Nibiru and the Anunnaki and how they wanted humanity to be a slave race to mine gold, and we know that was a lie, right?
Mhm.
But the one truth out of that whole gimmick was that humanity has been tampered with,
Right.
right? As you were saying earlier, Keith, and Keith is saying that back in those days, you could say the golden ages, or even prior, before that, humanity was running totally different. Like you said, we were more spiritually based. And I
Mhm.
think this is what this three-eye atlas is really about. That certain spiritual people, right? If you're on this path and you're going on, right, there's going to be a time where this activation, this is what they're worried about. They were really worried about just people activating. And what do I mean by activation? What I mean by activation is now your lucid dream astral projection is about to go off the charts. Okay, like off the charts, meaning that, hey, when you shut your eyes, you're somewhere else. You're in a different version of you, and this is going to be happening way more than most. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's, to me, is what they're afraid of. And because when there's more people like that, now things really change. Like there was what was that? A key. There was something that happened in Peru just recently. All the kids that went to a certain school, all of them had the same dream in that night. And the
Oh.
dream that the 100 children were experiencing was the black cloak people, the top hat guy, and all of these children were getting attacked, coming down with symptoms. All of them were getting sick. So, so we're going into this time where there are going to be certain ones that activate, and experience a higher dimensional playing thing here. That's what I assume when I like.
Right. And to that's why we in the when we got into when the dimensional shifts start to happen, because like this Hopi star, I do want to talk about that too. But because I seen this blue thing, now I don't know if it was blue beam or if it was an actual thing, but I did see this blue explosion or blue comet across the sky. It looked like an explosion, but it could have been a blue comet coming across the sky. Now, whether it was real, whether it was blue beam, that's something else.
Mhm.
But um, you know, in this augmented reality. So this is the thing about their world. This is why they advertise. You advertise. You're advertising to your adversary.
Mhm.
Advertising. You know what I'm saying? So they putting things on the mind to be projected. That's what all these lesser lights do. So we consume these lesser lights. The eyes are black holes that suck in what we see in reality. So if we didn't have all of these lesser lights, cell phones, all of these things that we're sucking in, our cell phones are portals, our computers are portals, our TVs are portals, because
Mhm.
we're sucking these lesser lights into the subconscious, and the subconscious is holding these lesser lights. And they're using our power. See, we project our reality through what's stamped on the subconscious. So we're actually helping them create their reality. So it will be beneficial for them to impregnate our subconscious to produce the outcome of the world that they're trying to create. See
Mhm.
how this is happening? So this is when it comes to those dreams and um you know them causing distractions and putting things out in the news. they're using this and they're testing but they're beyond testing. So
Mm.
when we see them putting things out in the news and stuff like that, we got to know, okay, they using that. Like right now, we're in the winter solstice. So when it comes to these doomsday prophecies, what did they tell us about? They told us about, well, there's this alien invasion supposed to come. There's a planet supposed to come. There's going to be pestilence and hunger. So what did they do? They did a threat. They threatened us with cutting the food stamps off. They first of all, we allowed them to put us in a state to where we as a whole became dependent upon the government supplying uh, us with food and what we need and things like that. So they use that fear base because now we're in the winter solstice, and for us to go into these states of fear, now they get something for that. They're able to cipher energy from us. They get something called lubus. There's a something that the just like the mind produces dopamine in a happy state,
Right.
there's a chemical that's produced when fear happens. It's called lubus. And they're able to siphon that lubus, and that's fuel for these parasites. And my bad, bro. You got it.
I also think like if you listen to some of the things that the elites do behind the scenes, like they have a lot of rituals that they perform, and they unfortunately like to go after the younger ones, like children, because when they induce fear, the fear in children is so prominent that lupus chemical that's secreted is so strong that when they actually, I guess they like to bathe in the blood or something like that. It's more potent for them. That's why like they need children in that fear during that ritual. So that actually it's crazy like how that all ties in.
That's a fact. It's more pure.
Yeah.
It's like, say a person got a drug or something. If a child is a drug and I'm a drug, the child gonna be more pure than me because I've been cut with
Mhm.
different understanding or different experiences, whereas that child is pure and innocent. So it'll be a more pure form of the substance that they need to create their reality and feed off of. And my bad, my brother T. Riggles.
No, 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 no. You cooking, and that the winter solstice that you're talking about, right? That will start Sunday, December 21st. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's when it will start, and that's when you go into how your spiel is, about the sun and all of that. But that's
facts.
it. Go ahead. Go
Uh-huh.
ahead.
Oh no, I
Oh,
was just gonna say they do this on a yearly basis. Every year they do this, and we're unaware. With the veil on, we can't see what they're doing. So once the winter solstice comes in, they start to put us in a state. That's why I start with Halloween. And as you become an adult, we know that it's Halloween, but we're apt to doing this and we're saying it's for the children, but it's actually for fear to be put into the children so this energy can be mass produced. So there's a mass production of lupus. See, we used to be on code with the cycle of life. So we would do a harvest at this time. We would harvest fruits, vegetables, and things of that nature and prepare. You see what I'm saying? But they're harvesting during this time. So they stole our practices and turned them into paganistic rituals and practices, and people going along with it. But now, when people wake up and people start to see that, wow, we've been doing this whole time, and they're just ciphering our energy. Now, people gonna wake up and say it's gonna be the end of the world for them because people ain't gonna want to take part of what's going on. But right now, we're so sidetracked and distracted by everyday life, bills, food, things that we want to do. and even free will, the
Mm.
things that we like. So, and that's a thing for a whole nother conversation because I'm gonna be on this for the next 2 days. My bad, bro. You got it.
I also think like when we talk about how they're harvesting us, like another instance I've read into is like when I like this is strictly conspiracy theory based. How they say like the moon itself isn't like the actual moon, but kind of like a station or like an observer or an observatory or something like that. And like you can get a sense that it may be so because it was at one point where they crashed a lunar module into the moon and it rung out like a bell, and that gave them the sense that way like it's not supposed to ring like that, like that means it's hollow inside. um and they went on to say that when the body expires and we go into our light bodies, they use religion like a sense of comfort for those who don't know what to do after you pass on, and they use the light as a source of a beacon that you're supposed to follow, where you're supposed to hear familiar voices, loved ones that's waiting for you, and it's just go to the light, that's like the safe place, or like a quote unquote going to heaven. And yeah, the light body passes through the moon, and when it gets there, like they invoke like this high concentration of energy that's supposed to like wipe the consciousness clean. And then when you're like I have like the amnesia. They tell you like, oh hey, yeah, yeah, you're supposed to go back down. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that, and that's basically that reincarnation cycle that we hear all the time, where we like, how did we end up back here? Why can't I remember anything or something like that? Think like it's I think that's a kind of the process that they use. Well, not to say like it's true or anything. It's just more or less what I looked into.
Nah, you on point. I think like sometimes a lot of people who just surface level may not be able to understand what you're saying because they're gonna look at it surface level within physicality. But when
Yeah.
we talk about dimensions, that's why we in this dimension. Ain't nothing physical outside of this dimension. If it was
Right.
physical, it'll be in this dimension with us. It's just like a dream. It's
Yeah.
like trying to interpret the dream or tell somebody about a dream. You in the physical world trying to tell somebody about something that happened in your dream, which is another state of consciousness. So we got to kind of be able to transfer it, so it may throw people off. But what I'm trying to do right now, I'm trying to pull up this symbol about the moon. With the children. When the movies come on, they got a little kid sitting there
Yeah.
fishing. He's sitting on
And
the moon
fishing.
and he's
Yeah.
sitting there fishing. All this is symbolic. So no, you on point. You on point.
Yeah, like, and like I don't want people to think that I'm saying this information like this is what it is. It's like it's just a conglomerate of information that I come across that I just find interesting, and it's like, why it makes you think about it, because some things tie into each other, and then some things don't. But it's just like, all right, well, I can see how that makes sense, because if we look at the metaphysical sense of it, like we understand that we have a consciousness, but then we also understand that why can't we remember anything before now, unless you do like real hardcore and intense meditation and whatnot to to try and get that memory back. For the most part, we're just empty vessels, returning back here, stuck on stupid. And as it was explained, like they actually have these devices in the ethereal world, or the ethereal realm, that they use to like keep putting us back in here. And as you mentioned before, like it's fear based, so it's like they tell us the fear of death, the fear of losing loved ones, it's the fear of not completing your goals, or not completing your dreams. It's all fear based, which keeps us here.
That's a fact. And brother T Riggles, you want to interject?
No. I'm vibing what y'all saying. With the the grabbing of information, as Keith was saying, and you're trying to make sense of everything, and what I'm saying, trying to see, okay, we can throw some things out, or we can keep that. You know what I mean? Like I totally feel that, and I advise people. To me, that's somewhat of critical thinking. Do you know what I mean? That you're doing, and some people will say, or use discernment, in what you're getting at. But I like where we're going with this, and when we have time to go back, right? Because this, I want to touch on, to let y'all know how the narrative for CERN and this Higgs boson, right?
Yeah.
How this is the front for what is actually happening. I like.
Oh yeah, no, I want you to go into that. I just want to bring this up. Now, this is the DreamWorks, the boy on the crescent moon. So this would be, like what Keith was talking about. And we think about Christ, the child, right? We think about Christ, the child of the Immaculate Conception. What is he? The fisherman, the fisher of men. What is this child doing? He's sitting on the crescent moon and he's fishing. What is he fishing for? Souls.
Right.
So there's a heavy correlation with this, man. And I just wanted to make sure we tie everything in. And the way that you said, that's what I like to do. That's why I wanted to start today's show off with us just building. This is called building. And we're going to keep what makes sense and we're going to throw away what doesn't. So that's how I'm going to always do. I'm never going to come with, I know this specifically. Even if I do know it, I like to build like this. So I don't want to really give anybody something. I want it to resonate with the person. So that's perfect on point, man. And shout out to you for that. I just wanted to bring this up. You got it, T-Ruby.
No, I like to hear, all of the information, and so we can really dissect it. Do you know what I mean? Like, for an example, we know that the moon, right, is translucent. So, so no one landed on the moon at all. So you can throw all of that out, right? I'm a flat earther. You know what I mean? So I can throw some of the things that have been said. I can throw some things away. Like if they're saying something about, like, for an example, the 3-eye atlas. And look, and I'm telling you this again, if anyone's bought into this crap, okay, that there's a comet and it's coming towards Earth and it's catastrophic and doomsday. Okay, listen, they got you. And if people are going to believe that and then pump out, like, with information about the solar system and then that means, like, when Project Bluebeam hits, you're going to be fooled all the way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be you're going to think, oh yeah, the ditrichtomine dactyloid alien race is here. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna actually think that. So this is where it's, I love bringing in all that information too. Even the jargon. Do you know what I mean? And let's all make sense of everything and all that.
Oh, yeah, that's a big fact. I tell people always eat the meat, spit out the bones, eat the fruit, spit out the seeds, because it's up to us to have the discernment. So just like you just was stating about the moon, like it's like when somebody talking about anything, a person could be talking about Christ being a physical person. I don't think that Christ was a physical person. I know there was an allegory to the story. It's about the meaning of it. But I know what a person mean, but it's about what they call being the bigger person. So when somebody says something like that, you could just take and school the person, accept it, but then take and correct what's wrong and then keep what's right. But I want you to go into your spiel that you had. What was you gonna do? The
Oh yeah, the CERN.
Yeah.
Look. So I'm reading about it, right, y'all? So I'm reading about it, and so I was like thinking, okay, what is the Higgs boson? What is that, right? And so what they told me is that a boson is a particle that carries a force. There's a force that they call, I'm saying it wrong, but there's one that's called the weak force, and there's another force named something else.
Mhm.
And this is what the boson does. It carries these forces and makes to one. When I looked at what it looked like on the images, it really, what I was decoding, I was just like, oh, you're talking about divine masculine, divine feminine energy. And so I looked up who came up with Higgs boson. Who did this? So it comes out that the man who discovered the Higgs boson, his name is Peter Higgs, an atheist,
Mm.
in 2012. And I said, really? Who is this guy? Where does he come from? So apparently he's born in England. I said, oh, this is getting even more interesting. And I said, hey, is Mr. Peter Higgs part of any society? And it said, no. I said, okay. But check this out. His schooling, right? Because Mr. Higgs has passed away,
Mhm.
right? Peter Higgs' schooling, one of his schools that he went to was called the City of London School.
Mm.
Now, the City of London is separate from England, just as Washington, the District of Columbia, is separate from America. So we have the City of London School, and this is a private school, guys.
Mm.
And in order to be in the City of London in this private school, you have to be a very important person. And then I looked into the school's motto. The motto is in Latin: Domine Duringe Nos. That means Lord guide us, or Master guide us. Now, this is England, and there's a Latin motto. That doesn't make sense to me. But what makes sense to me is that the Knights Templar of old, who reside in the City of London, their motto is Latin. The same type of Latin motto, the City of London, we have here. So, what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, right, is that we have Peter Higgs, who was supposed to found this boson, right? Which I don't think he found anything. He's not, listen, this is something complete. This is the front. The boson, the smashing particles, is the front, like we said before, right? And we have all of these scientists that are involved, like they're part of, like Mr. Peter Higgs, who he was part of. He was part of, it's called the Royal Society. He
Mm.
even received a medal from Queen Elizabeth
Mm.
herself, guys, for the great work
Mm.
this man has done. It's equivalent to when Obama was giving out those awards to some of the celebrities for doing such a good job.
Mm.
So,
Facts.
so right now, I'm looking at this whole thing here, with CERN, as you were saying before. Like I was just breaking down, that was one of my clues. Hey man, like there's something very sinister going on at CERN, even though that they produced the internet and all of that, and they figured out some other stuff. But look, and all the scientists that work there, I think that all of them are involved in this. They have their little clubs, And I think that a lot of these scientists that work for CERN are kind of held there against their will.
True.
Like they can't leave. Yo, what do you
Yeah.
mean leave? No, you already know too much. You work on a certain department in this whole grand scheme thing. We can't let you leave. You might as well live here like some of them do. So this is where I'm looking at this whole CERN thing, guys, and I land, right? As we said before, right? There's something more in depth that is going on here that other people, you got to uncover really what's going on. And I land.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that because see, one thing we can't never forget is there's universal truth through universal laws. So you were speaking about the divine masculine, the divine feminine. This is the shift of these two energies. This is the yin yang sign that we got. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. Everything else is just a depiction of this. That's why everything is either a sex ritual, which would uh reflect birth, or a death ritual, which will, so it's all about energy transferring and coming in. But
Yeah.
that's some good information that you guys see anytime you're being a scientist or anything like that, we got to automatically know that these people are here to to help them create a whole new world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what they're here for. So once
yeah.
we gotta understand to understand, so we overstand their part. Yeah, they are already what it is, because I think like what you just stated, a lot of people wouldn't be able to see that. A lot of people will be like, well, why would this scientist or why would this person? It's not about that person. Once they become a part of the plan and the plot, they're a part of the order. So the thing is to see what's happening, and what's happening is they're coming up with these so-called discoveries and inventions and stuff to put out to the people. Is like a mass manipulation. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? And it goes with the storyline of what they're trying to do. This is the synagogue of Satan. They only have one agenda. They don't have other agendas. They throw things out and make people think that they might have other agendas. That's all to keep people from think they still in the cookie out the cookie jar. You see what I'm saying? They putting steak sauce on their mouth, but to make you to guard the steak, but they don't want the steak. They going for the cookie jar. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And me being I got a revolutionary mind. Do you know what I mean? It's like I major in I got two majors, and that's revolutionary and spiritualist. Like these two I'm mashing together here. So out the gate, everything that you tell me, everything that you have taught me, I have to put everything in reverse, or I have to flip it upside down, got to turn it to the side. I got to do all of these things because I know that not you guys, but the establishment are master manipulators, masters in confusions, and they've got their doctrine in deception. They're brilliant at it.
That's why I
Honest.
also like to play like that quote unquote devil's advocate. Like some people try to stray away from certain information because it doesn't fit what they like to learn about, or it just makes them feel uncomfortable. But I think that's when you need to actually go into that information, because that's where the enemies are going to hide their agenda. So if you're only getting one part of the story and excluding the other part because it makes you feel uncomfortable, then you're going to be deceived. So like you have to go in and get all of the information, even if you don't believe it. It's still information that's could be useful at some point in time, but it's still always good to retain as much information as you can.
That's a
Facts.
fact.
Facts.
That's a fact. Now I pulled up what is the doomsday prophecy? Uh a doomsday prophecy is a prediction about the end of the world. And we already went through that about the end of the world, often foretelling catastrophic events, human extinction, or the collapse of civilization, frequently linked to uh, eschatological beliefs in Abrahamic religions. The term doomsday itself comes from the Old English for judgment day. And while many prophecies focus on religious texts, scientific theories about events like asteroid impacts or climate change can also be considered. So we see right there, these people go off the script. They have the religious script and they have their scientific script. Now, when it comes to Christianity, many prophecies in Christian texts, such as the Bible, describe events like the rapture, great tribulation, the last judgment, leading to the second coming of Christ. Some interpretations focus on specific biblical passages to predict the end times, often through mathematical calculations based on uh, scripture notes. Other biblical accounts describe the end as involving the destruction of the earth by fire, while also stating the earth will abide forever. Islam prophecies, known as the Day of Judgment, foretell the knowledge will decline and people will stay from the Quran's guidance before the final day. In Maya civilization, the Maya lone count calendar was sometimes interpreted as predicting a doomsday event, particularly the end of a cycle on December 21st, 2012. However, uh, academics debate the specific meaning of this prophecy, which may refer to a god associated with the creation of the universe. In science, the doomsday argument, and this is a philosophical argument, not a religious prophecy, that uses the number of humans who have ever existed to suggest that there is a high probability that humanity will not exist for a very long time. These theories predict the end of civilization or human extinction due to natural events such as catastrophic climate change or a large asteroid impact. And some theories link predictions to astronomical phenomena or other potential catastrophic events, such as the potential impact of a comet or asteroid. So, my thing is, when these foundations are laid, like I just stated, right? When these foundations are laid, we should be able to see and see right through the veil. Because if they're telling us that this is going to come with climate and weather change, and we know they the ones changing the damn weather, that should tell us something. When they
Right.
tell us, yeah, yeah, when they telling us that an asteroid coming, and they've been lying saying that they got all these cameras up there and this and that, and they can't really show us what's going on. So you find a lie, you catch a thief.
Mhm.
So they've been lying to us about being able to do this and do that. Just like they said they've been to the moon. Then they said, now we've been there, but we can't go back. But technology is supposed to be so far advanced that we can't get back to somewhere where we already been on a damn golf cart with some aluminum foil on it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we supposed to be able to discern these things, even when it's giving us the biblical reference. We supposed to be able to see through that. It's like somebody stole your car and left it somewhere, and you say, "Where my car at?" And they say, "Man, all I'm gonna tell you is over there somewhere." Well, you
Mhm.
gonna have to go and look all over there until you find it. So we got to stop getting upset because why won't they just tell us exactly what it is? Why won't they just tell us exactly where it's at? Well, do you fucking blame them? Are they supposed to? I mean, this is the person who stole your shit. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
like when I think about it, like for example, like us, like them not going to the moon, because like again, like I like to play devil's advocate, and I always try to think from their perspective. Um, let's just say if like for an example, they say they've went to the moon, but then again they can't go back, and we're supposed to have the technology that's supposed to, be so advanced and whatnot. uh what I've heard somebody say was that when Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong went to the moon, they had like they had this disc, a golden disc. And I'm not sure if it's the same one that they put on the lunar, the not the lunar lander, the what's the one that's supposedly out in the deep space now? It's the Voyager. They have one on Voyager and whatnot. When they went to the moon, allegedly, they had two type of missions. Is one for the public to see, and then there was another mission that they had, as an ulterior motive. And Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong was supposed to be just the face of the mission, and their actual goal was to go on the opposite side of the moon where we don't see, because supposedly they had detected something over there. And as the story goes, they went over there and they were warned to like never come back again. If you come back again, then there's going to be issues. Now, supposedly, quote unquote, they have like pictures surfacing around the deep web of images of the dark side of the moon that shows like lights and looks like cities, and you can see like crafts, entering craters and whatnot. And supposedly that was the reason why they say they weren't able to return, because we were threatened not to.
And see, now I got a theory.
Hmm.
I think that they came up with that to try to tell people that they've been on the moon
Hmm.
like that. I think they doing that. So, okay, now what is it? Is it another planet, or is it another inhabitable space with beings on it? Or is it something that they ciphering souls through?
So
So
like,
that'll be like a throw off for people to not think that the souls is being siphoned through. You see what I'm saying?
what I've heard about it was like I don't know how many thousand, maybe several thousand years ago, supposedly, like the moon was brought here, that they say. So like initially it was like another moon that was next to Saturn, because they say Saturn is another significance when it comes to like spirituality and whatnot. And it was supposed to have been like one of the moons as an observer over there, and it was brought over here to observe everything that's going on, on Earth or whatnot.
Yeah. And see, I think they hide. I think they hiding this.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
This is what they hiding. So if they can tell people, oh yeah, man, we on the moon doing this, then that's gonna take a person mind off of, well, they can't be ciphering souls through the moon. And I would think the moon would be a orb of light. That's
Mm,
why it goes through its phases, because it's we on a cosmic clock,
right.
and it's like the hour hand, the minute hand. This is where we got the concept of time, like watches and stuff like that, from being able to observe the phases of the moon. So if they could get us to think the moon physical, then that'll debunk in our mind. If we believe that, that'll debunk that they sitting there, that they fishing for souls through the moon. But then they depict this through the DreamWorks image. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, most of the stuff that they're trying to hide, they let us know, like, through fiction and movies and stuff like that. But I think they're really like, because I think they have like this saying where it's like, the agreement is, if you're gonna do something nefarious, then they have an obligation to let people know. And how they let people know is through fiction, and they teach us fiction isn't real. And it's like, well, hey, like, you don't believe it or you don't believe it, but we're showing you. It's not like we're not doing what we're supposed to do. We're showing it to you, but they still label it as like, science fiction or, just fantasy or something like that. But they're giving us the details and everything that they're doing behind the scenes. Especially like, showing you logos like DreamWorks and stuff like that. They have it out there in the open, and they deceive us by saying it's, fantasy and fiction.
Facts. Because we're the only people they're tricking. My bad. I'm gonna be real quick. We the only people they tricking. They not tricking themselves. So their people just follow the script that they lead to keep us in the blind.
Right.
They yeah, they got a certain type of nature.
Mm,
They don't care about poison in the water. They don't care about they want their soul. They don't want to be in this. They want to go to a world where they can create a metaverse. They want their soul inside of a computer chip where
mm,
you see how people do they hair green spikes and try to look like Bart Simpson and shit for real.
yeah.
They want to live like that in a reality to where they can be a lizard if they want to. We see people crawling around all day now, acting like they dogs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. These the nature of these people. This who we dealing with. This why we feel like we trapped. Like, damn,
Right.
now we in the world, we gotta go along with this shit. And we're thinking they give us something that we want to satisfy us with, but then on the other hand, they take us to a direction where we won't want to go. So it kind of be like we torn in between the two. And what's happening right now with this three-eye atlas situation, with the merging of the fifth dimension, is people gonna really wake up. And the way we sitting here talking right now, the majority of the world gonna start talking like that and thinking like that, and then balance will be restored. My bad, T Rivers, you got it, bro.
No, no, you're absolutely right. I think Keith, you're absolutely right with what you're saying, and Key, you spot on. Oh man, I got ringing in my ears. Hold on. Wow, that was kind of loud.
Mhm.
Um, damn, that kind of messed me up. But I totally agree with you, Keith. In the book of Art of War,
Mhm.
um, Sun Tzu, I think the guy's name is,
Yeah. Yeah.
right, and he said that look, and this is what they figured out also. The hierarchy, the ones that are enslaving us, right? They figured this out too. Art of War, Sun Tzu said, look, I got to defeat you mentally first.
Mhm.
I'm not just going to send my army and just be, and this is a military strategist here,
Right.
and I wish I had the date. But if you have a person thinking like this back in those times where he's saying like, look, I've got to beat you mentally, spiritually first.
Mhm.
I got to trick your mind. And then I can come in and take over
Right.
everything. Like you're basically hand it to me. Well, this is what we're doing now,
Mhm.
right? And I'm telling you, they're great at this. Defeating the mind. Let's break your mind down, make you believe something is real that is not. So you be willing to give it to us. And this is where universal law doesn't pick sides now. It's not going to pick sides. If
Right.
if the people are going to say okay to something, and look, the universe is looking at it like, man, don't they know that this is a joke? But since they're doing this, I gotta let it go through because
Mhm.
you're believing it. You're saying yes. We want take my rights away even more and protect me, for example. Do you
Mhm.
understand? So all of these things are happening, and once, like you said, Key, once we get to a point where we're gonna have to wake up, guys. And everyone's going to be speaking like we're speaking. Great. And what we got to do, Keith and Keith Norfolk, if people are going to be speaking like us, we got to make sure that we're above. We got to go more. We got to go deeper into our knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Even like this, y'all. And
Right.
this is when this is when people start talking like this means that the work is really being done. See, once you tap in, guys, to the ancestors, okay? When you tap into that other side of you, and the ancestors can come through you, can have conversations with you, can guide you, can even give you something from that world to bring back here. Look, now we're talking. Okay? Okay. 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 You know what I'm saying? Right? Because look, that's what tapping in is really about, guys. Right? Because you know how people say, "Hey, you got to read the word. Yeah, you know, get the Bible, read the word, read the word." No, 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 no. Tap in and get the word. Does this make
Oh yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying?
it make a lot of sense. But I think it's levels to this shit. So I think first we gotta stop going along with their script in all senses of the word. You know, we can't just say, "Oh, the Bible fake. I'm gonna stop reading the Bible." But I'm not gonna grow my own food. I'm gonna keep going to the grocery store to get food because what that means, we still need money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna try to live somewhere where I'm not paying rent. I'm not. We got to do all these things to be able to get back, so we can connect in, or else we gonna have a faulty wire in our makeup somewhere. So
Right.
I think you're totally right, but I think people try to skip the levels. And you know what happened sometime when you running up some stairs and you try to jump 2 or 3 steps, you might fuck around trip sometime. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we're at. And once we can stop what we're doing, because we gotta, how you just said, we gotta stop what we're doing, deprogram, then reprogram. That
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Right.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no, absolutely. You know, yeah, like you said, take your steps. You feel me? The revolutionary walk, the spiritual walk, that figuring out truth walk. Right? Oh, there's my three. Okay, I just came up with three. Okay, right? Those walks, you gotta take steps. Like I had to take steps on learning the truth. You feel me? Because for the first time, I had first time in my life. I think it was what, like 3 years ago. I had my first intelligent fit. Like I got really pissed off that what I thought I knew I was wrong. Like something was from NASA, and and breaking that chain, I was just like, oh my god, I had a fit. Like I really got upset. Do you know what I'm saying? To the point where I had to go outside and take a walk in the middle of the night, and I think it was raining. Like this is how it was just a play on my mind. Do you know what I mean? And so I totally agree. Especially you got to take these steps and don't skip a step now. You don't want to never skip unless you good like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think especially baby steps. Like the smaller the steps, the more information you can retain, and then I think the better off you are in the end.
Facts.
Yeah, like so too, when you was talking about the D string theory, um, I really wanna go back into that because we was kind of cooking when we were talking about them being able to manipulate reality because we're giving them our light.
Right.
Basically we're using our flashlights to shine on their path, and that's why they're so upset about the end of their world, and they're implanting in our mind that it'll be the end of our world. Now I want to touch on this, right?
Mhm.
Because now if they're making us think that there's going to be like an alien invasion, when they know that time's finna shift, then if we don't want to comply, so they're even giving us a chance to with this 3-eye atlas. Um, Now I want to know your thoughts on this. Now
I give
there's
you
a
insight.
yeah,
Right.
about the
Right.
land.
Okay. My
There's a
bad.
I'm about to land. There's a depopulation agenda, right? So do y'all think that um they're gonna try to manipulate the D stream, and if they can't stop what they're calling the three eye atlas, which is the return of the light body and the lifting of the veil, if they can't do that, then now do y'all think that they'll have a depopulation agenda to start putting this blue beam in the sky and then begin to start to depopulate the earth? I'm gonna say it like that for YouTube guidelines. Like start to get rid of people or start erasing people because they wasn't able to control the D stream to maintain their narrative. What y'all think?
Look, 10 seconds or 15. Look, uh, what we call aliens or mankind, they already here. They're here. They're living somewhat well, and they're amongst us. Do you feel me? All of the other stuff is to divert you from what is happening here because they've been here. They've been here. And for me, it's the ones that their eyes can go into that slit form. You feel me? And so that's what I'll say about all of that. And I land.
I
No,
think
no, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, T Riggles, I agree with you on that. What I'm saying is, do you think they using that? So I know where you finna go with it, Keith. Like with them trying to use CERN and the D stream theory, the Mandela effect, time traveling to try to keep our minds distracted from awakening to in their world. Do you think that with them using the fake alien invasion, that if they don't accomplish their goal of maintaining their order, then they will start to depopulate the earth?
I kind of think I
Mhm.
kind of think that process has already started. Um, if you look back to Bill Gates's his game plan, he already stated that the world was in like an overpopulation. And they wanted to implement, some contingencies that will basically bring the population down. And I think that kind of ties into it because after the COVID-19, there was like a surge in like, depopulation. Like the population decreased with, unfortunately, people passing away due to COVID, in which I don't necessarily think it's COVID in itself. I think
Yeah,
it's
maybe
has more so to do with, the chemicals that they pump into you.
my
Um,
bad. We just gotta say C19 for the algorithm. My bad, because if we say it like three times in a row, they'll flag us. But I'm with you on that. I
oh,
definitely
yeah,
get
yeah,
I'm with you on that. Mhm.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Yeah, I'll refrain from it. Um, but yeah, I think it ties in a sense where it's like there's some chemical that was implemented in the solution. Some say it's like kind of like nanotechnology and something like that. But going towards like, the idea of like if we don't agree or believe in the three eye atlas, then I think they have something in which they could activate within inside of the body that's gonna, start taking people out. And it's funny because there was a scientist who was doing not a scientist but more or less like a mortician, and he looked over a lot of people who passed away, and inside of their arteries was like this long worm looking string that he found in a lot of people in their arteries who received the jab. And like from his standpoint, he was like, whoever is getting this, you have to be careful because that depopulation agenda has already been implemented, and I think they have something inside of the solution that's gonna start deleting people if their whole agenda is not being if it doesn't go to plan.
Facts.
Facts. That's where I'm going with it, because I think they got some in certain amount of people and certain kind of people that they're going to be able to do mind control, because regular parasites control the minds, whether people know it or not. Parasites in the body already control the mind, but also those who won't comply, I think the chemicals that your body produces, you know, from a certain way of thinking, I think it activates the nanobots to take you out, like you saying. So now we cooking, we on point with this. Um, ah, I kind of do you want to interject, T Riggles?
No, I'm straight. I mean, that was strictly right on point because I know me personally. I know I gotta have some type of parasites in my body right now. Let's
Yeah.
not play no games. I'm trying my hardest. You know what I mean? I can't stop eating meat. So that's a form of a parasite that's telling me, hey, keep eating the meat, keep eating the meat, to keep it like that. That's a parasite that's affecting my brain. So yeah, you're right, right on point.
Yeah, because I think that, you know, I think the body produces chemicals when we have certain feelings.
Yeah.
So they're trying to say, and nano has been in different things. It's been in women products for the women. You know, nanos, they've been putting nano in us other ways, but it's just more efficient when it's in the bloodstream.
Right.
You know, so I think that these nanos can detect, you know, where a person's mind is, or a person's thoughts and feelings. Of Trump already came out and said, you know, anybody going against the establishment gonna be deemed an enemy of the state, basically.
Mhm.
So my thing is also what to tie in to what when I brought up the new heaven and the new earth. So in order for them to keep their world going, they would create a situation to where they would be able to depopulate down to the people who they're going to use for their next set of slaves to go into their new heaven and new earth, because this to offset the transition. And I think that's what keep happening. I think that's why we're in a time skip. I think that's why time keeps skipping. I think that's why we stuck on this time loop. Cause I think every time it get right here, we don't figure it out. We don't have enough people, or they find a way to depopulate the people. And what's y'all thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree as well. Like I said, like there's already contingency plans set in place. Like they've been doing it throughout history, like trying to depopulate and whatnot. And like if you're not going with them, then you're against them. And their aim is to stay in control. And if you're one of the ones that's gonna wake up, quote unquote, and you're enlightened, then you're an enemy to them, and they can't have that. So by any means, like they will take you out if you're not with them.
Absolutely, Keith. And this is where I like to tell all my truth tellers and truth speakers, especially all of my content creators, that if you're talking like we're talking, make sure you have spiritual backing so
Yeah.
you can still stay alive and go through the gang stalking, being a targeted individual, so you don't have to be poisoned like I have before and still live through it. With any type of spell work, that anyone that's tapped into ancient knowledge, ancient sciences, that can tap in to your lucid dream states, you've got to make sure that you're protected out here if you're talking like this. Because
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned right now, Keith and Key Norfolk, this time, there is no reset. There is no depopulating. Do you know what I mean? Because there's too many people are starting to come to that conclusion. Like the whole world is turning up, right? And there's more people that are awakening physically and spiritually, and especially for the spiritual ones. They're not going to let people know that they're experiencing this. You know what
Right.
I mean? Just due to ridicule or being called, like in the medieval times. Like if anybody was awakening or telling the truth, what would they call you? They'd be like, "Oh, there's the heresy." Do you know what I'm saying? So people are aware, we're smarter now from the last reset. that probably happened way back in the days, right? That you probably experienced one of them resets, right? Because I know there's reincarnation, right? So one of those resets you were part of back in the day. So now when we fast forward to here, right, you have this feeling, and some have the knowing that, okay, the reset is starting to happen. And I'm gonna tell you like this, gentlemen, ain't nothing about to reset. Not while I'm here. No, 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 no. Ain't no resets going on, right? We're going to continue on. We're going to keep striving. We're going to, like you said earlier, the veil is starting to lift. And the majority of people that wake up physically to the BS, there will be no reset.
Mhm.
And I like,
Yeah. I think we gotta just, they got traps and snares. So we gotta keep ourselves from being able to be overtaken by their traps and snares. You know, they give us this thing what they call free will or whatever. So we gotta be all the way. When I say tap in, we gotta be back with the flow. We know that they're manipulating the weather. We know that they manipulating everything, but we gotta actually go against the spiral or the spiritual aspect of that they're trying to create.
Mhm.
We gotta really break away from the we got the holidays. We still gonna be in under their control, but we want to participate less and less and less until what happened? Rome falls. But unfortunately, a lot of people are so caught in the matrix system that that's gonna be hard to do. And shout out to my brother Keith, man. I know you got to get out of here soon, man. If you want to close out, brother, feel free to do so, man. But like always, man, it's been great having you here to build with us, man. So salutes to you. Much love.
Yeah, man, I definitely appreciate being here, man. I always enjoy the talks. Like, I learn a lot, and you guys are like super knowledgeable. It's like, like great mentors I have. It's my first time actually, like, aside from the last time being a part of a group like this where, we're all, thinking alike and whatnot. And it's like good company, like, this is what help bring up the energies and, elevate our consciousness. The more we learn and the more we share. So like, anytime I'm always available, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, most definitely, man. I appreciate you too, good brother. Feel free to join anytime. And we can shoot each other a message. If you got some ideas about something, feel free to shoot them over to me. But I will be on for the next 2 days in a row. So salute, bro.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
hey man,
So
look, thank you, Keith, okay, for blessing us, bro, and coming on. Like you said, it's very it's kind of seldom to find people like yourself and to have these. It's almost like we're having these back in the days, how they couldn't speak freely. They
Yeah,
had to go underground. And this is how secret societies were formed because, people, we couldn't talk like this. We
right.
were labeled, keeping in the recent times, right? We would be labeled
Yeah,
heretics. Do you know
exactly.
what I mean? Burnt at the stake, off with your head,
Yeah,
and so to actually, bounce ideas and even hear your thoughts, feelings about things, man, it's an honor for both of you,
I
you know,
appreciate it. Likewise,
to,
man, definitely.
to have these conversations, because I just made a video about being a targeted individual, which I am, and with all the targeted individuals before me that didn't make it, you know, one of them would say that, you know, only speak to the wise,
mm,
don't speak to the unwise. You're only wasting your energy trying to convince
Exactly.
someone of what you already know. So just having these type of conversations and builds with both of you, man, it's very, for me, I cherish every moment, right?
Thanks.
Because being a ti, I can't mingle like I'm single out here. Do you know what I mean? So appreciate both of you, man.
Yeah, same here, man.
Oh yeah, much love, salute, bro. And oh yeah, if you got something that you wanted to leave with before you left, bro, you feel free to do so.
Yeah. Like we were talking about the lucid dreaming, and last week, I think it was last week Wednesday, I had a lucid dream. And it was weird because in that lucid dream, I actually, passed on. And it's not that I only passed on, like I realized that I passed on and I was shifted over to another place. And like I looked at my fingers and like, I was touching my fingers together, and I even slapped myself in the face, like, and it felt, the sensations were real,
Good.
and I can't remember. It was almost like, I want to say it's like an incantation. Like it started out with master, and then I couldn't remember the middle part of it, but it ended up with, give me the power, give me the strength. And like there was like this flash that, like, that occurred, and then next thing I know, I was in like this wormhole, and then I appeared in this next world where, like, it sounds weird, but it looked like wizards and witches, to be honest. Like, and it was completely outlandish, but I knew I was dreaming, and I knew, like, wait, did I die? And then I had like this thought, well, like, you know what, it is what it is. It can't be helped. And it goes back to what you guys are saying about how, like, there's going to be like an awakening, like a shift in consciousness where people are going to realize, all of this stuff is going on. And then I wanted to bring that up because, we spoke about it the last time, about lucid dreaming and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Look, Keith, let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you something, man. That's a phenomenal thing that you did. Okay, because now, look, if you've gone through that wormhole and you wasn't scared of that, brilliant. You're brilliant. You're becoming more online than you can ever imagine, right? Keep doing what you doing, brother. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because we're going to need, when we move forward here, right? We're going to need more brothers like yourself that
Mm,
are tapping in, because you're coming online now, right? And then everything is going to, whenever you're ready, right? You have to be ready mentally. So you're getting prepped right now. So it should increase a
absolutely.
little bit more than normal. It should. You feel me? And then now, after your experiences, man, come back to me, brother, and then tell me everything. Tell me everything, all the details, right? Because
It's
this is my
almost,
lane. I love that.
yeah, I almost get the sense that if I could remember what I said during when I had the incantation, it's almost like I get the feeling that if I could remember word for word what I said, like something would happen just like that. But like for some reason, the important part of it, I can't remember for the life of me. That's the
Mm,
thing.
mm, mm. But
I'm,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna learn more about this, Keith, right?
Mhm,
Because you know, one of the conscious community teachers, Savan Bomar, said
mhm,
that there are words that you can say
mhm.
that's going to invoke things.
Right.
And once I get that information down, do you know what I mean? I'll share with selective few, the ones that possess this type of gift, because those type of things, like you said something, and flashing of light, something is coming. Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
so these words and terms in that lucid dream state, for the ones that have the gift, should know these words. You
Right.
know,
I just wish I could remember it, but like if you come across something that'll be helpful, I'm always open to hear it, man.
hey, look, Keith. Look. I was just telling Keith Norfolk this, man. Like, look, what is this? We're November 22nd. Okay, from November 1st, right to now. Look, I'm probably at 10 lucid dreams already. Okay, and the month is not even over yet. Do you
Right, right.
understand what I'm saying? Right? Like this is normal type of things, like jumping different timelines. Do you know what I mean? And actually seeing, okay, what am I being shown here? And I gotta decipher all of this that's going on. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting visited by black cats. Like, what the
Right.
hell? Do you know what I mean? So it's such an adventure. I'm loving every moment of it,
It
you
makes
know,
you
and I
know,
just can't wait to go to sleep tonight, honestly.
right? And I'm trying to figure out a way, like when I go to sleep, to to invoke those type of dreams. Like maybe I can tell myself a mantra before I go to sleep. So when I actually am sleeping, I can remember that mantra. That's going to help me realize that, hey, you're actually dreaming right now. And then I'm able to, actually control it at will.
Right, right.
Yeah, you know what I
That
used
takes
to do?
practice.
You know what I used to do? I mean, I wouldn't really go too much into it, but what I used to do was, I used to love playing baseball as a kid. I couldn't watch it because it was boring to watch, but I would love playing baseball. So every night I go to sleep, I would envision myself playing baseball at my position. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And it will go from there. And once I got into my next realm of sleep, I was just so much in control because I was doing what I wanted to do on the baseball field. So little things like that, if you can remember something or look at something, this if I don't know if you got like a picture in your room or something, when you get ready to go to sleep, something that you can look at and think
yeah,
about, you know what I mean? And just having your mind, you can envision it. Like soon as you fall asleep, it'll
yeah,
keep your consciousness. You will remember it because you kind of taking that from one realm to the next.
right.
So that'll help you. It's like a rope. You know how I'm gonna go in this dark hole, but I'm gonna tie a rope to my waist.
Yeah.
Yeah, type of thing like that. So yeah, that'll help too.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I gotta write all that down, and try to just instill it in my brain so it becomes like second nature. So when I'm laying down, like, I don't even have to really think about it. It just comes out naturally.
Facts. Big
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, but I appreciate it today, man. Thank you.
Hey man, thank you. Appreciate it, man. And yeah, man, we gotta touch base, man. So when you can, we'll link. Salute to you, bro. I appreciate you
Oh,
for coming
definitely.
through.
Thank you. And thank you too, T.
Salute. You know what? Damn, okay, I know you gotta go, man. So we'll do it on the next one. It's all good, bro.
All right, all right.
All right, peace and power.
All right, peace.
Yeah. I wanted to ask him about what was the narrative? Because I know he in Japan, so I wanted to ask him, was it kind of the same type of fear factor thing that we seeing over here? But we just got kind of deep a little bit, and I'll get it on the next one. Well, yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And you know what? I'll leave with the little Hopi prophecy thing, right? There's this blue star Kachina thing, right? It's supposed to be what it says here is that a spirit being named, I can't say this word, Sakwasha, Sakwasoha, is a spirit who acts as an air bringer of profound change. It appearances to a full ancient prophecies to bring about a new era of enlightenment and rebirth after a period of destruction. What is it? Of destruction and purification. And it said the signs key to look for, right, would be strange astronomical phenomena, right? It said that the sea would turn black, and then it said more youth should be joining tribal nations. So those are the
yeah,
signs to let you know that whatever the hell this prophecy is talking about, right? Like
yeah.
these are the signs that's going to happen.
And, so when they talk about spirit, right? So So I want to point this out. So when you talking about spirit, when they talking about spirit, not you, but when they talking about spirit, so and I'm just gonna use this for an example. Okay, well, because I don't want people to think I'm picking on nobody or nothing. I'm just stating facts and reality. So homosexuality would be a spirit. Um, drill music culture would be a spirit. It's an energy. It's a spiral that the collective get caught in, type of thing. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm.
yeah, so that's why I'll try to teach people to no, don't run away from it. Just don't take it surface level. When you take it surface level, you're thinking with a pig mentality. Not you or nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that's what they want people to do. That's why they give it in a surface level version. And they try to keep people in a pig mentality. You understand what I'm saying? Looking at everything surface level. So this spirit or energy or time that's coming, this is the new cycle. And it's not like something physical was coming. No, it's an energy. It's an awakening. So that's what I'm saying. This 3-eye atlas thing, no, it's not nothing physical that's coming. It's an energy that's already here. I'm 3-eye atlas. I am fucking 3-eye atlas. We are 3-eye atlas. If you got this type of mind thought or mind concept, you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the people who they are able to manipulate their minds to throw them off, once they know that they're taking this thing as literal, just like the stories of the Bible, when they taking these stories as literal, they know they got them. See, I'm going to do a build tomorrow. I'm going to talk about the genie or the genius within versus the jinn. So I'm gonna be talking about artificial intelligence, human intelligence, natural intelligence. What type of spirit do you possess? Are you activating your light body, or are you being used? Or are you allowing another light body to use your body? Are you activating your light body, or are you allowing another light body, light form to possess you?
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
called
yeah,
trading
totally.
places. Trading places, basically.
Yeah, like the video I just put up with young Pharaoh of back in the day, and now, and it's funny how now young Pharaoh he's been Agent Smith. You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy how to me that I'm seeing people buy into certain things. It sometimes it hurts. Like, sometimes I get kind of like frustrated, but then at the same time, you know, that's that person's choice to believe something versus knowing it. So, great show today, Keith. Great show, man.
Oh yeah, man. It was a great one, man. One for the books. I really thought about the structure of how it should be done because I knew this building process was gonna happen this way. And yeah, man, it was a dope show for sure.
Yeah, and to
Soulful.
lastly to leave you with the uh because I didn't do like I didn't go like I didn't read like 4 articles on the Hopi prophecy. I just looked at
Yeah,
Google, but I watched uh this elder, okay, that was born in it's crazy was like he was born in 1909, and then he passed away in 1999. Amazing. You know what I mean? This dude, Thomas Ban Yoya. And he was talking about you know, nature and balancing things out. And then he was just like, you don't want to be like, he was like the W man and destroying everything, doing this and, not caring for the land, and, to restore, to make sure that everyone here, us, the plants, animals, wildlife, the ones in the sea, all needs to be respected and honored, and making sure that we have this balance here, not just to be like a colonizer and just blowing stuff up and not
That
caring about everything that's around us. You know what I mean? Trashing up the place. Like, no, guys,
think
no,
about it,
no.
man. If we're
You
in
know what I
the
mean?
belly of the beast, we can't be in the belly of the beast, uh, making the causing disease.
Yeah,
So it's something you eat. If you eat something and it get in your stomach and it start making you sick, it's gonna throw it up. So that's what's happening right now with the earth. The earth is alive. The earth is more conscious than we are. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the cycle that's happening. The earth is gonna spit out what's making it sick. So yeah, you on point with that. I see. I knew these type of things because it brought to mind that you said he was born in 1909. He died in 99. That was strange to me because my great grandmother was born in 1911, and that's who I spent most of my time with. She passed in 2011, so I would learn about uh what the spiral was and the seasons and the process and the vortexes, the swastika sign. That was the turning of the seasons, and you know what I mean? That was
mm,
spirituality. We had Bibles in the crib, but we stayed in the farmer's almanac. You
mm,
understand what I'm saying? We
yeah,
had gardens in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? So we worshiped. Worship is worth-ship. Your worth-ship. What do your worth-ship go to? What's worth something to you? What's the thing that's most worth something to you? And to her, that would be her garden. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
So and being able to make things like we were speaking about earlier, what would it be like in the times, without the money and without the jobs and stuff? But we will have farmers, we will have seamstress, we will have uh, natural healing doctors, we would have people who protected the community from certain things. We would have scholars and teachers. We would have spiritual philosophers and things of that nature. So we would be able to trade services and we would have what we need. We didn't have a mind or a concept that said, damn, man, I can't wait to get them new Gucci shoes next week. Or man, damn, I can't wait to get that Louis Vuitton sweater. Or man, wait till that new Benz drop. I can't wait to get that. Like, you see what I'm saying? We was in tune with nature. That's why I'm talking about being information with our information. We have to be information with our information before we can be compatible with life and nature. Because we have to be compatible with life and nature because the ether is going to in the universe is going to fit pieces where they go. And if there's anything that doesn't fit, if it don't fit, no, I'm messing with you. I was gonna say, if it don't fit,
oh man, yeah,
oh
yeah. If it
man, that's
don't
the
fit,
best part
man,
about
you know
this.
what I mean?
That's the
Yeah.
best part about this, man, to be able to go into these esoteric teachings and to be able to joke and laugh too and have fun with this, man. That's like the best feeling in the world, man. So it ain't nothing like it, bro. But yeah, man, that's what the universe gonna do. everything that doesn't have a place is gonna get erased. So that's what
Right,
this change is happening.
right, right. And I like how you said that. It's absolutely right, Key. You gotta have fun while you're here. Take care of your business, but make sure that you live in the life. You know what I mean? Make sure you smiling and happy. You should be happy. You're here. You know, some of y'all got children. Look, engulf with all of them. Like it's a great time to be alive. You know, even when things are going to get even more rockier here, guys. Things are gonna get rockier. Just to let you know that. Okay, things are going to get a little bit more rockier, but then that means that something good is starting to rise up. That's Bobby Hemmett's word. So yeah, great build, Key.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Y'all remember now, if it don't fit, you can't. Nah, I'm messing with y'all. Yeah, I was
How many times have you heard that in your life? Ah, it doesn't fit. Oh.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man. Yeah.
I was gonna go a little deeper, but I will be back tomorrow. If you guys check the um what's coming up next, I'm gonna try to be on time. I'm gonna try to keep the information prevalent and efficient. I wish I could stay longer tonight. It is getting pretty late, but I will be back tomorrow. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody in the chat who came through. Shout out to everybody who shared the stream. Please share the streams because I am under YouTube attack. I've been under YouTube attack for some time now. I've been trying to play it cool so that I can get my monetization back, so that I can put more time into doing this. It's not about the money, but the money do help me be able to put more time into my thoughts and my research so that I can bring some good information. So shout out to everybody who support. Oh yeah, shout out to my brother Marty for his donation. Um, I forgot to mention he just shot it to me. So shout out to my brother Marty for the donation. Salutes to you, brother. Always greatly appreciated. Like I said, when I see the support, people sharing the streams, the moderators, people coming on the panel, um, people supporting with the Cash App, they give me motivation to come back and make sure that I'm on point with the information I'm bringing. So shout out to everybody for your support. Is always appreciated. Don't never think I don't appreciate y'all, man. Because without y'all, it wouldn't be no me. So salutes.
Yeah, man, and I apologize, Key and the chat. I didn't give y'all a shouts out, man. My bad, man. I be just so involved in the conversation, Like, I don't even look at the chat. I just want to know what the hell Key talking about, what was Key talking about, and what the hell we. And look, shouts out to the chat. Look, y'all are undefeated out here. That's just facts, man. Much love to everyone.
Oh yeah, much love to everybody, man. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. I will be back for a Sunday sit down with Key. Like I said, we're gonna be talking about uh the genie and genius within versus the jinn. And I'm gonna break that down with artificial intelligence, human intelligence, and natural intelligence. So with that being said, salutes to everybody. Much love and respect. Please share the stream. Please support the stream. And until next time, peace and power. Salutes, family.